What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to episode 58 of the U.S.S. Enterprise D tutorial. I'm Zero Elite, and I just want to thank you very much for tuning in today's episode. And if you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and helping me in supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. Today we got about a 22-minute video. We're going to be picking up where we left off from episode 1. Now we're in episode 2 of our Battlebridge, and we're just going to jump right into it and really start trying to flesh out the rest of our foundation, as well as getting our walls up. Now, doing a quick refresher from yesterday, we had started one deck up and we used that template and we're going a deck down, which we started yesterday, and now we're working on our new floor plan. Now you can see that I have a cut in the ground. That's going to be intentional, so this way it mimics kind of what we got going on right here. Really, at this point, we're just filling in the gaps in the center. So far, so good. And like I said, we got enough room to play with here, just enough to do what we need to do, but fortunately not enough to build out our ready room, which is not a big deal. Okay, so we've got our floor in place, and I think an important thing to establish here is what are going to be our entryway points. So we're going to have two. We're going to have one on the left side right here, and then one on the right side. So it's literally just going to fork off, because if you think of it this way, the hallway is in a direct center, so we'll have it fork off to the sides here. So that's kind of what we're working on right now, trying to establish our entryway point. Say went off that first cut, and I'm building up 3 high. And if I went one more forward on each side with those white terracotta, that would bring me right up to the level that I need to be. Or we could even have it going at an angle. That may not look too bad either. Yeah, that's definitely very important. We want to establish that early on. We want to know how we're to get in and out of our battle bridge. So this way, once we've gotten all this done, we don't have to go back and backtrack and try to figure that whole mess out later on. Now going along the lip here, we're going to swap out this gray line with the blue concrete. We're also going to do is grab carpeting. Now I know here in the picture it almost looks gray, but I like the blue line. I think that'll look like a little bit nicer and kind of feels a little bit more next gen with the blue as a highlight. And so we can cover up the top with carpet, and then we'll smoothen the cut line there with the half slab. I know here in the picture we really only had that staircase here in the middle, but we're going to do that going along the straight back, and we'll fill all of it in. This is just a way for us to be able to have that blue go on the side where it's just not so drastic. With it being a full block, we can kind of cut that down with a half slab. So now we're literally just going to go along the floor line. We can get rid of these rows and swap them out with the white concrete. And literally what we're swapping out, this is going to be our wall now. Now on this left side, we're just going to fill in where it's the white quartz. Remember, somewhere either I made one side one too big, or I have my by 1, which either way, it's not a huge deal. Now what I'm doing here is I'm actually bringing it back by 1 on this side, which I'm not quite sure I'm going to be able to do this on the left side. I'm just going to fill that bottom part in. Trying to maximize as much room as we possibly can here. I'm actually almost willing to bet that I just didn't build off enough on one side, because now that I'm looking at it, I'm pretty sure it's all even. Pretty sure that's what happened. I just didn't go far enough on the right side. Which we just fixed, so we're in good shape now. Yeah, we're going to try to get as much as we can get done today in the 22 minutes that we have to play with. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe that the bridge, the Battlebridge anyway, is only going to be a 3-part episode. You know, it'll be yesterday's video today, and then Thursday. And then after that, we're going to start working on some other things. We might jump on the outside of the ship 1 or 2 more times. But really at this point, we're really going to start getting, trying to move along here with getting some stuff on the interior done, because we've got a lot to do. We've really only just begun with building out our interior. And yeah, I don't know, like I said it yesterday, that I kind of just got like ahead of myself and was like, well, I just feel like building the Battlebridge. I probably could have waited to do this at a later time, but it just kind of worked out. I'm actually glad that I built this when I did, because another thing that I was toying with was directly underneath the shuttle bay. I was going to have that as my cargo, and I'm glad that it worked out the way that it did, because I still have a ton of room left on my ship, especially right around my shuttle bay area, so that could still end up being a spot for my cargo. But going the decks down below the secondary and tertiary shuttle bay, we've got the Battlebridge, and then we go in our different levels of engineering. Now, one of the things I did notice, and I will actually have to come back at least 1 more time to work on the Battlebridge, because I was watching, I've been watching Next Generation off and on here, trying to get more inspiration on things to do, and there's a few things I need to do in my corridors to get them where I want them to be, and this, we're talking minor things at this point, and then I also have to adjust the roof on the Battlebridge, because I noticed that what I have is pretty much flat, and I noticed in the episode that I was watching the other night that when they showed the Battlebridge, they almost kind of had like an oval indentation or circle indentation in the very center of it. So that's going to be something I'm going to try to do too. But right now we're really just focusing on getting our general shape done here, because we'll still have plenty of room here that we can come back and make some alterations. What you're seeing me do right here and just closing off the area, this is some of the stuff that we're just going to be doing in some areas of the ship. You know, once we close in the walls, you'll never have known that, you know, there's just a tiny bit of gap on either side. I'm not really too worried about it, because I'd rather build exactly what I want and maybe have a little bit of space left over, as opposed to building based off the space that we have to work with. Now, this line that you see me building above, I'm trying to replicate this right here. Now we're in the dead center. We're going to pretty much build our outline here for our view screen. Alright, so far we're in pretty good shape, and we still have about 12 minutes left in today's episode. Because yesterday's episode just kind of flew by on me. But I've been trying to make a point not to have my episodes be super long. So this is kind of like the sweet spot where I try to keep my episodes in if I can help it anyway, keeping them within that 20-minute period. So now we're getting to a really good spot. We're starting to work on our walkways. I'm not doing anything crazy for this. I'm kind of just going off based on the entrance to the bridge, and instead of going 3 wide, at least just for this walkway going into the Battlebridge, I'm just going to adjust that down to 2. This is relatively a very simple build to do. We want to make sure that we're paying attention here. We need to use our terracotta to cut out our walkways. Or, excuse me, I should say our walkway entrances anyway. And then next couple of blocks here we'll be in pretty good shape. We can go in and see how it's looking so far, and really the only thing we'll have to do to these walkways is maybe get just a little bit of lighting in them. Okay. You can see I'm cutting off these corners here. You don't really need to. I just did it there, but at the end of the day, we're never really going to see that section, that area of this room on the outside. It's going to be closed off. Now the middle line here, we're going to be swapping that out for the gray to pretty much replicate what our main corridors look like. And I'm just going to throw down a sea lantern just temporarily, just so we can get some light in here. What we can also do here too is we can fill in this main walkway as well. So it feels just a little bit more complete. You see, we still have our 2 left and right areas that as soon as we get off the turbo lift, that if we wanted to flesh out this area of the ship, we could totally do that. You see, I messed up there in the roof with the gray blocks. Now we're going to be trying to do the correct pattern here that I have with the lighting. Now the only downside what I'm doing right here is that if you did in fact want to use the deck directly above you here, then that's going to pose a problem because, well, maybe not necessarily, but at least when you go up to the next deck up, this is what you're going to see in the floor. And what you can do as a quick workaround is just use carpeting to cover it up. So this way you'd never see those lights. And I think we might actually bring these doorways just a little bit further back. And the only reason I'm saying to do that is just to give us a little bit of room on this back wall here. This way we can put some computer consoles in, because what we have right now, it looks great. We just need to stretch it back just a little bit, so this way we can actually go in and build out those computer consoles, and it's not showing up on this side of the corridor. And it's really not going to take a lot of work here to fix it. We're really just going to blow through this. And just repeating the same process that we did just a couple of minutes ago. Same steps. With this wall here, we're just going to stretch it out a little bit. And same thing with this side. Yeah, now when we come into the bridge, we'll have to clean that up a little bit too, but we'll have a lot more room to work with, and it'll look it's going to look a lot nicer than what we had just a second ago. And most importantly, we'll still have those main walkway exits to the left and right of the main turbo lift, so this way if you do want to expand on this deck, you can still do that. Alright, now we just need to fill in the roof. Yeah, see, that looks a little bit better too. And I think what we'll do right here is that we'll just close up this wall. Even if there's like a tiny bit of dead space in there after we add in the consoles, it's really not a big deal. I'd rather do this than be able to do exactly what I want to do with the bridge, as opposed to once I add in the computer consoles that you see them from the corridor, which is going to totally mess up the look of this thing. Now we're going to be grabbing our warped Hypia, which is a texture pack from the Grid Pixel pack. And if you're still new to that, be sure to check out my episode from the Discovery series, from my Cerratos series, the Grid Pixel episode. I show you the combination to use these blocks in, so this way you can have the same exact setup that I do. And spending the $5 just to get a few of these blocks was totally worth it in my book, because now with having those blocks in the back, it looks like a computer screen, and it helps to bring this ship to life. That's going to be something we're going to be doing as we flesh out this whole thing, adding in stuff like that here and there. But that back area, I mean, it looks fantastic. It's not spot on with the Battlebridge, but it's pretty close. And that's really all I'm going for, because building out this bridge is going to be pretty difficult in itself, but all things considered, I'm pretty happy with how it looks. And I think on each entryway point, at least when we first walk into this corridor, I switched that out to the gray. I think that looks a little bit nicer. And then going this way, we'll do sideways lights. That doesn't look too bad. And if we really wanted to, when we go into that corridor that goes into the bridge, we can even write the top block right before we go in there. We could actually corner that off with half slabs up top to make it look just a little bit nicer. I'm actually messing up on my doors there. The doors should not be blue. This is going to be something else that's going to be debatable. And I know that people are going to talk about it, but I'm telling you that you're going to see two variations of the doors on the next generation. You're going to see ones that are gray, or not gray, like that light cream, which is why I'm switching them to that cream color. But what I don't like about it is that it just blends in with what I have going on. And from this side, it actually doesn't look too bad. But then the other doors that you see on next gen are actually kind of like a light orange color. And that's actually what we're going to settle on, or we'll have the white terracotta divider line in the middle. And I have that there for a reason, so this way those of you that want to do your automatic doorways, you have a splitter to go in between, because we're doing a 3x3 instead of a 2x2, so this way our rooms aren't so cramped. But I think that that'll work out actually quite nicely. And when you see the finished turbo lifts and our corridor doorways with the orange doors, it actually, like, I love how it looks. I absolutely love it. Yeah, everything that we just did there, at least in the center with that gray block, replacing the white terracotta, we're going to be switching that back and then putting in the orange blocks on the sides. The reason I'm putting these stairs down is because I want to have something here to build these half slabs off of, to kind of replicate this L shape that these next gen consoles make, and that's about as close as we can get it. I could have just used the half slabs and just went down with the cut line, which could be something that I might end up coming back to, because when we use the chair flipped backwards to actually sit there, it might look a little bit funky, but we'll mess with that. One thing too, we need to get a little bit of light in here. Now, one thing I'm going to do the cheat where I'm doing these lights, I'm actually going to be replacing the blocks underneath these half slabs with lights. So this way it just gets a little bit brighter in here. Now, once we get in half slabs once we get in the sea lanterns underneath them, we're just going to come back around and do another row of the half slabs directly above them. And don't worry about the corners just yet. I'm going to probably throw down these half slabs here, but that's going to mess us up on the sides here. That's why I think where we had it before with the half slabs is probably what I'm going to fall back on, because if I do it like I have on this right side here, it's going to blend in with these consoles, and I don't really like that. This is why you have to decide, you know, the nice balance, because sometimes less is more, you know? But so far, we're looking pretty good. I think that's going to end up wrapping us up for today's episode, at least. We got a considerable amount done, all things considered. We're not done yet. We still have one more episode. We're going to have to clean this thing up just a little bit more and get it set to where we need to be. But so far, we've got a nice palette to work with here, and I'm pretty happy to leave it where it's at. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap us up today. And I just want to thank everybody again for tuning in today's episode. And don't forget, you can always catch my new Minecraft episodes dropping Tuesdays through Thursdays. And of course, if you have any questions regarding today's episode, or you just want to say hey, or you're just dropping by to let me know what ships or builds you want me to do, be sure to drop a comment below. Definitely love hearing from everybody. And yeah, that's going to wrap us up. Thank you all again for tuning in today's episode. I hope everybody has a happy and safe day and week, and I'll catch you in the next episode.